කම්මැල්ල. For the people, by the people.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime News here on TV1. I'm Disal Kapuge for News First, where we are and always will be with the people. Before we get into the news, let's first take a look at the headlines.
Tear gas fired at Peradeniya University student protest. Similar protest opposite University of Kelaniya. Debate on removing PUCSL chairman in Parliament on Wednesday.
ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මහත්මයාගේ එහෙම නැත්නම් බැසිල් රාජපක්ෂ මහත්මයාගේ නිර්දේශානුව තමයි මේ සභාපතිවරු පත් කරේ. ඒතකොට දැන් ජනකරත්නායකව කන්නෙන් අල්ලලා එළියට දානවා කියන්නේ එක පැත්තකින් මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂව බැසිල් රාජපක්ෂව කන්නෙන් අල්ලලා එළියට දානවා වගේ වැඩක්.
Ali Sabri Rahim detained by airport customs with over 3 kilograms of gold biscuits. Sagala Ratnayaka shifts from Matara to Colombo. China donates kerosene to Sri Lankan fishermen. Tax reform should get more from high-income blocks, says the IMF.
And now in your top story, Sri Lanka police fired tear gas at the protest organised by the student union of the Peradeniya University on Tuesday afternoon.
The student union of the University of Peradeniya commenced a protest march from opposite its office premises on Tuesday afternoon against student suppression, the anti-terrorism bill and several other matters. The university students attempted to march to Kandy, however, Sri Lanka police and the police special task force prevented them from proceeding further. This was what transpired when the roadblocks were removed for the university students to proceed. The university students engaged in a sit-in at the site to express their protest.
The incident that unfolded on the 10th of December 2022 was politicized, and the former chairman of the student union and several student activists were expelled. A proposal has been made to install CCTV across the entire university, and there are other massive welfare issues as well. We cannot afford the food sold at the canteen. The students are not receiving the Mahapola scholarship on time. That allowance too is not sufficient. The dorm have not been renovated. The university teachers also have issues. When there are so many issues in the university, the administration is acting on the needs of the government.
Transportation along the Colombo-Kandy road was disrupted. However, it returned to normalcy once the protesting university students dispersed.
The Inter-University Students' Federation and the University of Kelaniya Student Union held a protest opposite the University of Kelaniya. They protested against the entry of police into the University of Kelaniya premises without approval.
The police are trespassing into the University of Kelaniya in an oppressive manner. When the students inquired, they had said that the Vice-Chancellor of the university has requested for police protection. We asked them, where is the letter issued by the Vice-Chancellor? Why didn't they have a letter to produce? When we asked the Vice-Chancellor of the university, she said they didn't make such a request. This is an attempt to create police posts within the university and use police protection as a tool for the government to oppress student liberties. Ranil Wickramasinghe is claiming that the students' movement is narrow-minded and that the student movement has been made in a flawed manner. The JVP is saying the same thing. When a political council member of the JVP is saying the same thing as Ranil Wickramasinghe, we urge the people of Sri Lanka to solve this equation and arrive at their logical conclusions.
The resolution against Janaka Ratnayaka, the chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka, will be taken up in Parliament on Wednesday the 24th. The chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka said that he always stood by the people and believes that the public or the true public representatives will stand with him in Parliament.
Former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa appointed Janaka Ratnayaka as the chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka on the 14th of March 2021. In 2022, when Sri Lanka started to suffer from the worst ever economic crisis, the country's energy sector also suffered a blow, leading to the PUCSL to make alternative recommendations to solve the crisis. However, they were never implemented. In March 2022, when Gamini Lokuge was the Minister of Power and Energy, the chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka met with the then president and presented the alternatives to solve the crisis. However, none of those recommendations were implemented. Sri Lanka endured lengthy power cuts that lasted for 13 hours a day. Details of a confrontation between chairman of the PUCSL, Janaka Ratnayaka, and the administration of then Prime Minister Ranil Wickramasinghe are now surfacing. These revelations come into the form of a letter addressed by PUCSL chairman Janaka Ratnayaka on the 18th of May 2022 to Saman Ekanayaka, the then secretary to the Prime Minister. According to this letter, on the 16th of May 2022, then Prime Minister Ranil Wickramasinghe, in his address to the nation, had noted that the electricity crisis would worsen, and according to PUCSL chairman Janaka Ratnayaka, that statement was misleading. The letter also revealed that the secretary to the then Prime Minister had contacted the personal assistant of the PUCSL chairman and had requested that she inform the chairman of the commission to refrain from making any announcement or statement contradicting the speech made by the Prime Minister. The letter goes on to note that the chairman of the PUCSL, in a follow-up telephone call, had mentioned that the PUCSL is a completely independent organisation and does not entertain any verbal threats or instructions from any third party. This confrontation continued to grow and worsen when the chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka opposed the proposals that were put forward to hike the electricity tariff in August 2022 and January 2023. Both times, Janaka Ratnayaka noted that the tariff hike should be introduced in a manner that would benefit the people. Both times, the Minister of Power and Energy strongly criticised the PUCSL chairman, and this eventually led to the drafting of a resolution to remove Janaka Ratnayaka from the post of chairman from the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka. However, the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka comes under the purview of the Ministry of Economic Stabilisation and National Policies.
I think it's a very decisive day tomorrow. There will be a parliament parliament vote where they have to, proposer has to secure 113 votes to terminate the membership of me. Why they should defeat this motion? If you are voting for this motion, meaning of that is that you are challenging independency of a commission, and it is not merely putting me out from the job. Kanchana Vijayasekara, he wanted me to go out from this position maybe for last couple of months, and he tried many things, first, closing my office, court order, then, getting certain members to act against me, and all the members, irrespective of their belief, or the parties, the political agenda, they should unite tomorrow to defeat this illegal, unethical motion in the parliament for the benefit of the common people.
Will 113 parliamentarians support the resolution to remove Janaka Ratnayaka from the post of chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka? Former Energy Minister Gamini Lokuge said the SLPP that forms a majority in the government will support it.
He should stick to his subject and not engage in politics. If you take a look at the previous events, he did not conduct himself as an officer who is loyal to the government. Although he says he speaks for the people, several proposals were made with regard to the electricity usage by apartments. People have various issues. We did not slander anyone. We are responding in kind.
විවිධ ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා. ඉතින් අපි ඒව දාගෙන මඩ ගහන්න ගියේ නෑ. ඒව දැනගෙන ඒකට අවශ්‍ය ප්‍රතිකර්ම කරනවා.
Opposition political parties, including the SJB, have made it clear that they would oppose the move to remove the chairman of the PUCSL. The Freedom People's Congress, that also forms the opposition, maintains the same position.
There's no such thing as a commission that must bow down to the cabinet. They say they want to make the central bank independent, but no one is saying do not interfere with the central bank. So if a person they prefer become the chairman, that body is independent. If not, it is not independent.
The party, led by MP Vimal Veeravansha, a breakaway faction of the SLPP and operates as the Uttara Lanka Sabagel, says that they do not agree with this proposal.
Even if we take the difference in the price of coal, the difference in the price of diesel, even if we add all these things together, we can reduce the price of electricity by 20% more than this. The Public Utilities Commission has also said this. The chairman has also said that. Now, when a situation like this arises, the government has a duty. When the chairman of the Public Utilities Commission says this, when the CEB tells a different story than that, the government can bring these two and ask those who are interested in representing the parliament as public representatives to come and have an open conversation. A proposal is brought to fire the person who was of the opinion that the electricity tariff can be reduced by more than 23%. We are not at all ready to support any attempt of removing the PUCSL chairman just because he opposes the arbitrary increase in the prices at the behest of the Minister of Power. This cannot be done without going into an open and transparent operation. We are asking the members of the SLPP that you all should be responsible for the vistas of prosperity. Is it in the mandate that the electricity tariff will be increased by 63%? Does that mandate say to put the pressure of the budget deficit on the people?
ඇත්තටම දැන් මේ ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ ජනාධිපතිවරයාගේ කාලේ පත් කරපු කෙනෙක් මේ ජනක රත්නායක කියන්නේ.
Janaka Ratnayaka is someone who was appointed during Gotabaya Rajapaksa's presidency. Gotabaya Rajapaksa was not a politician, therefore a henchman was not appointed to the post. Most of the time these chairmen were appointed according to the instructions of Mahinda Rajapaksa and Basil Rajapaksa. Now they say that Janaka Ratnayaka is being thrown out. Then after Ranil became president, he is chasing away those appointed by Mahinda and Basil. The members of SLPP who had kept Mahinda and Basil on their laurels supported. This is nonsense. This is the most disgusting and unpleasant scene we will see in Parliament tomorrow.
ජුගුප්සා ජනක අප්‍රිය සහගත මල විකාරය උන්නෝක.
Parliamentarian Udaya Gammampila also convened a press briefing to express his views in this regard. Former Chief Justice Sarath N. Silva also participated in this press briefing.
In 2006, the tariff was increased. This tariff hike waived off the relief given to the poor. When it was increased, the matter was brought before the court. Luckily, I was the Chief Justice and I was aware of this. In court, I said that this cannot be accepted. I asked them to amend it in a way that will allow the poor to have it under the previous rate. Everyone agreed to it. Then we held discussions and introduced a new tariff scheme according to the usage. Accordingly, the consumers were categorized in a way that the tariff changes according to the number of units they use. Accordingly, a small amount was charged to the people in the lower tier. This decision was given in court on the 22nd of October 2008. The Supreme Court intervened and gave relief to the poor. The IMF has now asked us to recover the cost. They only asked us to recover the cost. We only spent 4 rupees and 20 cents to generate a unit of electricity using hydropower plants. Hydropower plants are owned by the public. In addition to the initial cost, there are other costs that will add up to around 10 rupees, which can be accepted. Earlier it was only 614 rupees and 34 cents, and now it has increased to 1,866 rupees. Then there is a service charge of 47 rupees. Everything will add up to 1,883 rupees. Then the earlier amount, which was 14, has now increased to 44 rupees and 84 cents. This is the amount that was increased by the minister. The tariff was increased by 315% to the lower consumers. Now, Janaka Ratnayaka said that this is unfair. Can even one politician keep his hand on his chest and say that this is a fair increase? How can the poor bear a tariff hike of 315%? The minister might see it as a fair increase because he has other sources of income. This is a sin.
අර දුප්පත්ම මනුස්සයට 315කින් වැඩි කරන එක. ඇමතිතුමාට සාධාරණ වෙන්න පුළුවන්. තුමාට වෙනින් ආදායම් මාර්ග තියෙනවා. මේක විශාල අකුසල කර්මයක්. ජනක රත්නායක මැතිතුමාට එරෙහිව
On one side, the allegations made against Janaka Ratnayaka are baseless, but then they wanted to remove him because he interrupts their work. Since there are no allegations against him, they have filed false allegations against him in this charge sheet. Responding to these charges, he has stated that all these 5 allegations are baseless, and he even has given documents as evidence to support his defense. Since the chairman of the PUCSL has clearly explained to the parliament that all these allegations are baseless, as parliamentarians who have brains, we have decided to vote against this proposal.
ඒකටම ඉදිරිපත් කරලා තියෙන නිසා සිහි බුද්ධිය ඇති මන්ත්‍රීවරුන් වශයෙන් අපි තීරණය කළා තියෙනවා මේ යෝජනාවට එරෙහිව පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේදී ඡන්දය ප්‍රකාශ කරන්න.
The Frontline Socialist Party also expressed their stance.
වරප්‍රසාදවලට සල්ලි කුට්ටිවලට
This attempt is completely unethical and violates the constitution. Today the votes that are auctioned for these privileges and blocks of money is what we see. That's all that Dewan now has. Instead of working to protect their position by favouring the existing government or the government to be appointed, we are telling the official and government servants that they have no choice but to fulfill their responsibility and protect the public opinion.
රැකෙන එක හැර උන්ට වෙන විකල්පයක් නැහැ.
News first with the people.
While attempts are being made to remove the chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka, Puttlam District MP Ali Sabri Rahim was detained by Sri Lanka Customs on Tuesday the 23rd morning for the possession of gold biscuits. The parliamentarian was detained by customs officials at the Katunayake airport and was later moved to Colombo.
Puttalam District Parliamentarian Ali Sabri Rahim was detained by Sri Lanka Customs at the Katunayake airport upon arrival from Dubai on Tuesday morning. He was detained for the possession of 3.5 kilograms of gold biscuits valued at over 70 million rupees. The parliamentarian was detained by customs officers when he was at the VIP lounge at the Katunayake airport. The MP was moved out of the Katunayake airport on Tuesday evening.
මේ රටේ ජනතාව ගැන කතා කරපු ශ්‍රී ලංකා මහජන උපයෝගිතා කොමිෂන් සභාවේ සභාපති ජනක රත්නායක මහතා
Janaka Ratnayaka, the chairman of the PUCSL, spoke for the people of this country. Tomorrow a vote will take place in order to remove him. However, who actually heard the people are doing well. We are informed that MP Ali Sabri Rahim, who supports the government, was detained at the airport with 3.5 kilograms of gold biscuits. He was detained for attempting to illegally import gold biscuits by depriving the government of the taxes. This is the state of the government led by Ranil Wickremesinghe. Why did Ali Sabri Rahim go overseas to bring gold? We wonder if this is an attempt to give small gold items to the members of the government.
ගෙදර යවන්න ඡන්දයක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට ආලිසාබ්‍රේ රහීම් ඒ ගිහිල්ලා රත්තරන් ගේන්න ගියේ ඇයි? අපිට හිතනවා මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ කට්ටියට පොඩි බ්‍රෙස්ලට් එකක් මාලයක් ගානේ තෑගි දෙන්න ගිහිල්ලා ගෙනාපු රත්තරන් ටිකක්ද කියන එකත් අපිට මතක් වෙනවා.
අපේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුව නියෝජනය කරන മന്ത്രിවරයෙක්ම රත්තරන් කිලෝ 3.
An MP was detained and arrested for the possession of gold. We do not have an issue with the MP, but this may be just one instance. Imagine how many creep through the loopholes. Instead of addressing these, the burden of the people is more. All ruling party MPs have been asked to be in parliament tomorrow. So we have concerns if this detained MP will be escorted to cast his vote. That too using the loopholes of the law. We have concerns whether anyone who would support the government will be moved to parliament in this manner.
පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට එන්න කියලා නියෝග නිකොත් කරලා. එතකොට මේ හිරේ අත්අඩංගුවට අරගෙන ඉන්න පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීවරයා හෙට දවසේ මේකට ඡන්දේ පාවිච්චි කරන්න අරගෙන එනවාද කියන ප්‍රශ්නේ අපිට තියෙනවා. නීතියේ හිඩැස් ටික උතන තමයි තියෙන්නේ. නීතියේ හැම තැනම ආණ්ඩුවට අවශ්‍යතාවය අත්තක් උස්සන්න වෙනකොට ඕන කෙනෙක් මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ගේන්න කටයුතු කරනවාද කියන ප්‍රශ්නේ අපිට තියෙනවා.
මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුව තුල අද අවාසනාවන්ත සිදුවීමක් පිළිබඳව කතා කරා. මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුව නියෝජනය කරන
We discussed a rather unfortunate incident in parliament, which is the arrest of MP Ali Sabri Rahim. Some are trying to portray that the law is implemented in different ways. The government did not exert any influence on this, and it is clear we will not influence it. Customs will enforce the law and the gold will be confiscated. A fine will also be imposed. The law is being implemented.
තවත් තැනක වෙන්න පුළුවන් අපි බලපෑමක් කරන්නේ ඒ අනුව රේගුව ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරાવી මේ වෙනකොට සාමාන්‍ය නීතිය පරිදි ඒ රත්තරන් තොගය රාජසන්තක කරන්න අවශ්‍ය වැඩපිළිවෙල ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා ඊළඟට ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් දඩ මුදලක් අය කිරීමට අවශ්‍ය වැඩ කටයුත්ත සිද්ධ වෙනවා ඉතින් නීතිය අද ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්න පටන් අරගෙන තියෙනවා.
The Controller General of the Immigration and Immigration Department, Harshini Lukpitiya, says that the Chinese national who arrived in Sri Lanka on the 18th of May with 2 passports was arrested. The Chinese national who was detained by Immigration and Immigration at the Katunayake airport was later detained following a letter addressed to the Controller General of the Immigration and Immigration Department by State Minister Arundhika Fernando. The Chinese national was in possession of a Papua New Guinea passport and a Chinese passport. State Minister Arundhika Fernando had requested the Chinese national be released upon considering the Chinese passport, citing that he was in Sri Lanka to invest in a housing project. The Controller General of the Immigration and Immigration Department, Harshini Lukpitiya, says that the Chinese national was arrested and investigations are underway with the assistance from the Chinese Embassy and Interpol.
Let's now cross over to a short commercial break and come back for more news.
When a heart attack strikes, every minute makes the difference between life and death. With the right care and treatment at the hand of the most skilled surgeons and medical professionals. With the perfect environment for recovery. Darden's Heart Centre, dedicated to you.
Now we have a brain drain. We are competing with other countries. Let's be real.
If we look at the framework of what needs to be done, we need to make it easier for people to stay, harder to leave, and replace talent.
Sri Lanka is basically then loses the possibility of having creative, intelligent, efficient people to run the system.
We can move away with the negative brand that we have as a country that sends women to work.
We need to make it more easier for people to go in and out.
Face the Nation, Wednesday nights at 9:30 on TV1.
And welcome back to the news. Former Governor of the Central Bank Ajit Nivard Cabral says that the country's economy is governed by the IMF. He expressed these remarks after attending a court case. It's good that if that is true, but I don't think it has returned to normalcy. You better ask this question from the people who have lost their jobs and are finding hard to make ends meet. First of all, are you aware about the issuing of treasury bonds? It is another way of obtaining a loan. If everyone is happy about obtaining more loans, then I am also happy. But then we are in a debt crisis. We cannot solve this crisis by obtaining more loans. If people are happy when we obtain more loans without searching for new modes of income, and if the people rejoice when they print more money, I think you can understand the situation.
ඔබතුමාලා හිතන්න වැඩේ හරියයි කොහොමද කියලා. දැන් එතකොට මීට පෙර ණය ගත්තේ නැත්නම් මීට පෙර සල්ලි ඔක්කොම ගෙන්නේ නැද්ද? කරලා තියෙනවා.
Yes, we have, but not at this level. You can check the figures. On the 15th of May, they have printed notes worth 189 billion rupees. Then the central bank has issued treasury bonds. No one speaks about this now, and there is no point of me commenting on it either. Anyway, the IMF must speak about this, since they are the ones who control this now. The International Monetary Fund stressed that Sri Lanka's tax reforms should be getting more contributions from high-income earners. The IMF delegation to Sri Lanka made an exclusive appearance at News First's Newsline earlier this evening.
For Sri Lanka as a whole, I think the main part is to recognize how deep the crisis is, and then for all Sri Lankans to contribute to the recovery, which means taking ownership of the deep reforms that is needed. And those reforms, include tax reforms, SOE reforms, and also structural reforms, things that can help build institutions so Sri Lanka is never in this situation again. For example, ensuring the independence of the central bank, or even dealing with anti-corruption issues. So I think it's a holistic approach.
The tax reforms should be getting more contributions from high-income earners to the extent possible. And this fiscal consolidation, fiscal adjustment will have negative impact on the poor and vulnerable families. And that will be taken care of to the extent possible by the social safety net reforms and then minimum spending floor on the social safety net.
As you remember, there was a significant tax cut in 2019. Yes. So Sri Lanka actually collected more, even though tax collection, revenue collection has been a problem for a long time. It used to collect more taxes as a share of GDP than it does at the moment. This tax cut resulted in a large number of taxpayers essentially leaving the tax net. And so the number of taxpayers shrank significantly. So bringing people back into the tax net to make their fair contribution in line with what they can contribute to society is a crucial part, because after all, the government is there to provide essential services and to support the poor and the vulnerable. And so those who can most afford it should pay their fair share to contribute to the government so as to help others who are in a less fortunate positions. And so that's what we're working with the government to achieve.
Sri Lanka has been placed among the 20 poorest countries in Asia following the worst economic crisis in its history.
A report published on Insider Monkey placed Sri Lanka among the 20 poorest countries in Asia following the worst economic crisis. Insider Monkey noted that while Sri Lanka is classified as a developing country, it is currently facing an economic crisis characterized by the devaluation of its currency, increasing inflation, and a humanitarian emergency caused by a severe scarcity of essential goods. The report said that Sri Lanka is one of the poorest Asian countries based on GDP per capita as of 2021. Myanmar tops the list, making it one of the poorest countries in Asia, followed by Yemen, Kyrgyzstan, Pakistan, Cambodia, Uzbekistan, Bangladesh, Timor-Leste, Vietnam, Laos, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Philippines, Armenia and Mongolia.
Chief of Staff of the President and National Organizer of the United National Party, Sagar Ratnayaka, has been appointed as the electorate organizer for Colombo West. Sagar Ratnayaka previously contested for the election from the Mathura district.
The United National Party's West Colombo Constituency Committee meeting was held yesterday, where Sagar Ratnayaka was appointed as the organizer by the unanimous vote of the members.
Sometimes the right decision is not popular with the people. We have to make decisions. You have to get the right ones. Fraud and corruption must be eliminated. But I will say one thing, we need to change our habits and make necessary decisions to move towards a developed country. The 15th Annual National Conference on Cybersecurity 2023 took place on the theme of protecting critical national information infrastructure today in Colombo.
The annual National Conference on Cyber Security 2023 took place in Colombo on Tuesday with the collaboration of the Ministry of Technology and Sri Lanka Computer Emergency Readiness Team.
We are in the midst of an accelerated journey towards the digital transformation. DG Econ, a program launched by His Excellency the President to bring in all the key stakeholders together to accelerate the digitalization process. And this program will provide several benefits to the public. We are planning to implement this digital economic framework by November this year. In Sri Lanka, the reported cyber security incidents have increased significantly. This becomes more important in context of our citizens being provided with unique digital identity for verification during the use of services offered by both public and private sector organizations. My ministry is considering requesting a separate budget line for cyber security from next year to assist your organizations in increasing the cyber resilience.
Dr. Enrico Calandro spoke about undersea cable security as well.
Cyber for That is an EU-funded project implemented by an agency called Northern Ireland Cooperation Overseas. We are a team of experts coming from a range of disciplines, and this enables Cyber for That to provide a holistic and comprehensive mentoring approach on cybersecurity.
The awarding ceremony for the ethical hacking competition that took place in line with the conference was held as well.
Sri Lankan divers have located and recovered 7 bodies from a Chinese fishing vessel that capsized in the central Indian Ocean.
The Sri Lanka Navy embarked on a search and rescue operation to assist the ongoing operations at the overturned Chinese fishing vessel Lu Peng Yon Yu 028, which was reported on the 16th of May 2023 in Australian search and rescue region south of Sri Lanka. At the directives of the Commander of the Navy, Vice Admiral Priyantha Pereira, the Sri Lanka Navy's offshore patrol vessel SLNS Vijayabahu with a team of Navy divers was directed to engage in this crucial mission. Having reached the location, the Sri Lanka Navy divers meticulously searched for air pockets within the upturned vessel, hoping to find any survivors. After strenuous diving amidst the challenges of zero visibility and enormous water turbulence, the Navy divers recovered 2 bodies from the captain's cabin and accommodation area. In addition, the Navy divers recovered 12 more bodies of the crew from various compartments of the vessel. Due to decomposition and the potential health hazards posed by operating in contaminated waters with limited protective gear, it was determined that retrieving those bodies would be exceedingly dangerous. The vessel is owned by Peng Lai Jinglu Fishery Company Limited based in Shandong province. The company is yet to release a statement on the incident. Of the 39 people that were originally on board, 17 were Chinese crew members, 17 Indonesians and 5 from the Philippines, and it was not immediately clear which crew members were found.
As of yesterday, 36,217 dengue cases were reported across the island. Consultant community physician of the National Dengue Control Unit of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Anuja Dheerasinghe, stated that the highest number of dengue cases are reported from the Gampaha district of the Western Province.
8,074 patients were reported from the Gampaha district this year. According to the National Dengue Control Unit of the Ministry of Health, 2,496 cases have been reported from the Putlam district. Consultant community physician Dr. Anuja Dheerasinghe stated that apart from that, dengue cases are being reported from Trincomalee district, Patticaloa district, Ratnapura and Kurunegala districts. The Public Health Inspectors Union of Sri Lanka urges the public to destroy dengue mosquito breeding places and prevent the spread of dengue.
If you do not follow our instructions and behave in a way that spreads mosquitoes, you may be subject to a spot fine in the Western Province. Also, there is the possibility of being subjected to a fine of nearly 25,000 rupees in a magistrate's court or a prison sentence, although there are no on-the-spot fines in other places in Sri Lanka. If you are found guilty in a magistrate's court for a fine of nearly 25,000 rupees, you have to abide by it.
Kerosene gifted by China for Sri Lankan fishermen were distributed on Tuesday, the 23rd.
The distribution of 4 million litres of kerosene to the fishing community by China took place at the Panudara Fisheries Port under the patronage of Minister of Fisheries Douglas Devananda and Chinese Ambassador Ki Zhenghong. 150 litres of kerosene is provided free of charge per fisherman in 2 stages. The stock of kerosene is to be given to 27,000 fishing boats in 15 districts.
Thank you for the case to our fisherman community. And not only that, recently our Chinese High Command visited Sri Lanka and they offered 1,500 million to our fisheries community. For that also I am thanking His Excellency and the Chinese government and the people of China.
Refugees from Pakistan and Myanmar residing in Sri Lanka protested opposite the UNHRC office in Colombo today.
Long-term refugees who have been seeking refuge in Sri Lanka for their home countries protested opposite the office of the United Nations High Commission for Refugees in Colombo on Tuesday.
10 years we are here. We are refugee, but still we are here. Here, no job. Without job, how we will live here?
Refugee got allowances, but we still not got any allowances because we are asylum seeker. I have little baby, 5 years old. She not go to the school. She not give any purity. So please join us and help us.
News First has written to the United Nations High Commission for Refugees and is awaiting a comment in this regard.
Leaders of Tomorrow, one of a series of leadership programs organized by the Ministry of Education, took place at Zahira College today.
The program was held to promote leadership and saw the attendance of the principal of Zahira College, ARM Trizvi Marikar, the principal of Ananda College, DM Laldisanayaka, principal of Nalanda College, Tilak Pattuheva, and members of the prefect skills of many Colombo-based schools today. The program also saw the attendance of the representative of the Ministry of Education, Director of Muslim School Affairs at the Ministry, Major MT Nasmuddin, and filmmaker King Ratnam as well.
We need to develop attitudes, we need to develop better understanding, we need to share our knowledge, and we have to respect the humanity and we have to work together. That we should forget the different labels that we are wearing. Beyond that, we must be able to come together, rally together, work for the development of this small tiny nation called Sri Lanka.
Group Director of the Capital Maharaja Group, Shevan Daniel, was in attendance and spoke to the youth on leadership and the importance of the Sri Lankan heritage that goes in hand.
We are living in a country which has almost 6 or 7 different countries all in one. We have the highlands of Scotland in the middle of the country. We have the Amazon rainforest in Singharaja, the history of Egypt in Anuradhapura. What don't we have in this country? I can assure you, Sri Lanka is going to start punching above its weight and we are going to show the world who we are. But to do that, we have to understand, each and every one of you sitting here today have a part to play. It is a privilege, it is a responsibility, it is an obligation, it is a duty to yourself, to your family, to your country.
Certificates were issued for the 70 student leaders and prefects that were in attendance, representing 13 schools at the training program.
A soft opening of the Changes and Traditions, an exhibition of paintings by S.H. Sarath, took place in Colombo today. News First Stefan Rodrigo reports.
The exhibition's official opening took place in Siam Nivasa, the premises of the Royal Thai Embassy, with Ambassador of Thailand to Sri Lanka, Pojhan Pol.
Being awarded the National Honours of Art in 2018 to having his art exhibited in the United Nations headquarters, Mr. S.H. Sarath has had a significant influence in Sri Lankan art and artistic expression. The strong, prominent influence of Thai culture in his art comes from his time at the Silpakorn University in the years 1979 to 1980. What makes it most significant is that his art will be available to view for 6 weeks at the spacious Siam Nivasa Gallery for students interested and or studying the field of art.
Titled Changes and Traditions, the art exhibit focuses on the various artworks of S.H. Sarath throughout his career.
From today until next month, we dedicated the place to be S.H. Sarath exhibition. Why Sarath? I'd like to say that he was educated also in Thailand from 1979 to 1980.
Sarath has won several awards for his work and contribution to the field and earned him a UNESCO fellowship in Silpakorn University, Thailand.
The British High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, along with the Director of the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office of the UK, Ben Mellor, visited Jaffna.
The British High Commissioner called on the Governor of the Northern Province, PSM Charles. They proceeded to visit the historic Jaffna Public Library as well.
Well, thank you ever so much. We've had a really wonderful visit around the library. It's been very informative. Thank you so much for taking the time to do that. I'm very pleased to be here. It's not my first time in Jaffna, but it's the first visit of our director from the FCDO, Mr. Ben Meller.
Thank you very much for taking the time, Commissioner, to show us around the library, to see the fantastic collection and to hear something about the ambitious plans for the future.
The High Commissioner and Director made a visit to the Jaffna University as well.
Join News First to take a glimpse into the beautiful world of bonsai. This Thursday from 8 p.m. onwards on TV1, streaming live on News First's YouTube and Facebook channels. Bonsai, the exquisite, mesmerizing, living art.
The schedule of the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup qualifier has been released, following the confirmation of the 10 teams that will feature at the event hosted in Zimbabwe from the 18th June to the 9th of July 2023.
The 10 teams taking part in the qualifier are split into two groups of 5 teams. Sri Lanka will compete in B group. All Group B matches will be held in Bulawayo. Accordingly, the first match in which Sri Lanka will participate will be held on the 19th of June against the United Arab Emirates, while the match against Oman will be held on the 23rd next month. The match between Ireland and Sri Lanka will be held on the 25th of June. Sri Lanka will take on Scotland on the 27th of June.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News here on TV1. As always, thank you for watching. Stay safe, take care, and have a good night.